Sunny day, 4 degrees, give or take at the airport at 7:35. Good morning, everyone. Some high-profile businesses will be throwing today their support behind a bid to allow more secondary suites in Calgary neighborhoods. Among them, WestJet, Talisman, Fiasco Gelato, and the Calgary Chamber of Commerce. Mayor Naheed Nenshi pleading with business leaders yesterday to rally behind his efforts to legalize secondary suites and to put pressure on the 5 city councilors still opposed. The mayor says secondary suites are necessary to continue to attract and to retain workers in our city by offering affordable housing. On Monday next week, council will be considering reforms that, if approved, would make secondary suites a discretionary use in communities where suites are currently not allowed.
Housing is a huge business issue right now in terms of our ability to attract and retain labor. And if we're looking, as the mayor said, to have 200,000 more workers in this city over the next 6 years, they need a place to live.
The 5 councillors the mayor says need some convincing about secondary suites are Shane Keating, Ray Jones, Sean Chu, Peter DeMong, and Joe Magliocca. A local civil rights group says a Supreme Court of Canada decision allowing police to search a person's cell phone, a suspect's cell phone, is actually a win for privacy. Kelly Ernst, the president of the Rocky Mountain Civil Liberties Association, says the search allowed is very limited. He says it's a good thing. Police must get a search warrant, except in rare instances where there's a danger to the public or the police, or if evidence could be destroyed. Ernst says a police officer cannot just search a person's cell phone for the sake of it.
Overall, I think this was a win for privacy today. However, I do believe that there are some cautions for the public to still ensure that we are very diligent about protecting our own personal privacy.
The Supreme Court of Canada's approach to cell phone searches is in contrast to that of the United States Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court ruling last summer police need a warrant to search cell phones as part of an arrest. One of the star giant pandas at the Toronto Zoo, destined for the Calgary Zoo in 2018, has failed to get pregnant. Shun was artificially inseminated in April, an attempt the Toronto Zoo says led to early signs of a possible giant panda cub, but urinary hormone testing, ultrasounds, and even behavioral observations show that she has not produced a cub. Shun is one of 2 pandas on loan to Canada from China. Officials at the Toronto Zoo say there isn't a pregnancy test yet for pandas, but they're still planning to share their research internationally to help breeding efforts. Pandas have just a single chance each year when they can breed, a window that lasts only 1 to 3 days. At the Omaha Zoo in Nebraska, a baby orangutan is the center of attention here. Yeah, you can see the infant clinging to its mother as she eats. The zoo says the mother, a new mother, is doing a pretty good job. This is her first baby. The zoo thinks the baby is a girl, but they'll have to wait a little while to find out for sure. The baby primate is about a month old, and as you can see, she's giving Mama a lot of love. 7:38, time to focus on business. Business editor Mike Apple joining us now. Mike, the loonie is following the price of oil this morning.
Yeah, you got to figure that some oil traders out there are going, come on, do something, Saudi Arabia or somebody to lower to stabilize this price for oil, Ted, because this morning it's at $58.50 a barrel. It's down 2% so far today. It is just dropping here after the International Energy Agency put out its latest demand growth forecast. And for the 4th time in 5 months, they've said that the numbers on growth for the oil sector overall next year, they're reducing their estimates. And then China's industrial numbers came in below expectations. So it's all into the mix here. And again, the supply ratio isn't changing because none of the producers seem to want to do anything about it in the short term. So price for oil's down, Canadian dollar in lockstep, down to about 86.5 cents US. We're looking at an exchange rate now at $1.15.5, and of course factor in 2 to 3 cents on the service charges at the banks, and you're looking at $1.18, $1.19 if you're heading to the States anytime soon. So that's pretty getting more expensive. Flip side, of course, this should benefit Canadian exports and maybe, you know, tourism. Americans got to be looking north of the border now going, hey, I can take a ski vacation quite inexpensively in Banff, for example, because I've got such a good rate of return on my U.S. dollars. The Toronto stock market, it's had an abysmal week and pretty much more of the same this morning, down over 100 points in the early trade, on pace for a loss of about 5% in 5 trading days. Not good. Silver lining to all of this, gas prices have obviously been very inexpensive, and we're also watching the talk that the interest rate valuations from the Bank of Canada. Will we even see a change in interest rates in 2015 now? It's a question mark. The bond yields certainly don't indicate that. We've got bonds trading at the lowest in about a year and a half. And you may want to see might like a dislike button on Facebook. This has been something that I have searched for on numerous occasions for various postings on the social network. But Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO, in a question and answer session with users yesterday, saying, yeah, they've talked about the idea of a dislike button, but that would just add to too much negativity on the social networks. You have to like things you don't necessarily want to like. One of those dichotomies of life, I suppose, Ted.
I know.
Things to ponder over the course of the weekend.
It's a very important issue to think about. All right, thanks, Mike. That's business editor Mike Keppel. You can hear Mike on 660 News at 26 and 56 after the hour.